Now then, welcome to the channel. I'm Andy and I'm an amateur landscape photographer. In this video I'm going to show you how to take smooth images of water using the shutter priority mode on our cameras. I've got with me two brilliant assistants, Alice and Ollie, and they're going to show you that even a 6 and a 7-year-old can take pictures in shutter priority. So without further ado, let's crack on and let's see how you do it. Welcome. So thanks very much to everyone that subscribed, liked, commented on the videos that I've done so far. Been really blown away really by the number of people that have watched the videos, never mind comment and subscribed. So thank you very much, and if you do like the content, subscribe, click the bell button and you'll get all my future content moving forward. This video basically is all about putting your camera into shutter priority mode. And the photographs that I've just shown you then, they were some of the photographs that I took when I first started photography, and I took them with a Nikon D5200. I didn't use any ND filters with those photographs. It was quite a darkish evening, so I could get the shutter speed open long enough to be able to get that sort of effect of moving water. But this video, we are going to use some ND filters, and we're going to go back into the field very shortly and see Alice and Ollie actually setting the camera up and taking the picture, and at the end of the video I'll show you the photograph that they actually managed to take. So the reason for shutter priority really is just that. It's to keep the shutter open for longer than it would normally be open for. Now in my previous video we talked about aperture priority mode and how the aperture priority mode on your camera controls the depth of field. And if you've not watched that video, it's probably worth having a glance at it. But in this video, we're going to put the camera into shutter priority mode, and we're going to mainly just control how long or short the shutter speed is going to be. The camera is going to set the aperture and the ISO for us in shutter priority mode, so we don't need to worry about that. Very similar to when we're in aperture mode, and the camera controls the shutter and the ISO. So let's go back into the field now and we'll watch Alice and Ollie set the camera up and take the picture. Okay, so we've managed to find an element of fast flowing water on the River Goyt, which is here, just to show you this shutter priority mode and how we set it up. I've got my budding assistants Alice and Ollie, who are going to show you exactly how easy this is. So Alice, do you want to knock the camera on? Okay, and at the moment the camera's in automatic mode and we need that to be in shutter priority this time. So Alice, do you want to put that into shutter priority mode for me? So we're looking to line that dot up with the S. So now the camera is in shutter priority mode. I'll just show you quickly on the back of the camera on the viewfinder what's going on here. So effectively, on the left hand side of the viewfinder, that's our shutter speed. In the middle, as we discussed previously in a video, that's the aperture, so it's going to control depth of field. And then you've got the ISO, which is being set by the camera as well, on the right hand side. So in shutter priority, the aperture and the ISO are being controlled by the camera. All we're controlling is the shutter speed. Now, on here, at the moment, the camera is set up for 3 seconds to take the picture. So it's going to open the shutter for 3 seconds. And we can adjust how long we want it to be open for by moving this black dial here. So do you want to just show us, Alice, what happens when you change that dial? And we can see, as Alice moves it, keep going sweetheart, as Alice moves it, you can see the seconds are going up and the aperture is also becoming a larger F number. So basically, looking at this, because the light's changing all the time, to get an f16, which is a good depth of field, we can get a 4-second exposure here. So Ollie's going to come in now and she's going to actually take this picture and we'll be able to see what it looks like. So we're going to put it into live view and Ollie's going to take the picture. Here we go.
Come on then, all. Now, when we take photographs and we're using this sort of length of exposure, really it's always useful to have it either on a self timer for 2 seconds or on a normal timer, because we do run the risk that we might get some camera shake when we do this. So for this exercise we've not bothered, but generally if you're in the field and you're wanting to have a really sharp clear image and no camera wobble, the self timer or the normal timer is a good option for this. Now what I would just point out here as well is I'm using on this photograph, I'm using my D50-600, and foolishly didn't bring my adapter rings for the lens that I wanted to use, so I've had to basically manipulate a load of ND filters and a polarizer to try and demonstrate that to demonstrate that I can actually slow the water down. So that's how you do it. And now we'll talk about a little bit more detail about some ND filters and how they work.
Okay, so there you go. That's how easy it is to set your camera up in shutter priority mode. I think it's pretty important to mention that shutter priority mode is really powerful if you're taking pictures of wildlife and fast moving objects as well, because in shutter priority it allows us to also shorten that shutter speed and get it so that you can take a picture of a fast flying bird maybe that, I don't know, you don't want the wings to be blurred, for example. You'd want a really fast shutter speed to stop that happening. So you can use it both ways really. I also wanted to just touch on ND filters, because I mentioned ND filters in my long exposure video, which if you've not seen might be worth having a glance at. And ND filters basically, they restrict the amount of light that comes into the camera. And I was talking about them to my friend Dave last week, and he came up with a brilliant way of describing them and said, oh, they're like sunglasses for the camera. And I thought that's exactly what they are like. And basically all they are is a disc that you screw on the front of your lens. You can get some that you'll slide in, some that are magnetic, but I use the screw-in ones just because they're cheaper. And this is part of a 4 ND filter set. ND filter stands for neutral density filter. And all you do is literally just screw them on the front of the camera, and it restricts the amount of light coming in. I also carry a variable one as well, which allows me to, if you twist the wheel on this, you can see that it restricts the amount of light coming through it. And that's really quite useful if you're out in the field and don't want to carry, you know, loads and loads of different filters. And the only other filter that I would mention that I use and I think is really worth buying is a polarizer. Because if you're going to take pictures of landscapes and also water, a polarizer will take the glare off the image. And this is a variable one. It's got a wheel again that you just basically twist the wheel and it'll change the amount of polarization of the image. So I've rambled enough. Let's see the picture that Alice and Ollie took right now. Just goes to show you that you can do this. It's not difficult once you know how to set the camera up to take photographs like that. Now that photograph, it's not going to win any competitions, but it shows the water slowing down, and that's all through using the shutter speed. So next week I'm going up to the Lake District and I'm going to do a whole video on composition and how, as an amateur photographer, I try and compose the images that I take. Now the Lake District is obviously a beautiful area, and everywhere you turn there's a great photograph. But I want to try and show you basically how I set the camera up and the sort of compositional techniques and tips that I've learned over the last few months and whatnot. So thanks very much for watching, and if you haven't subscribed, please do, and I'll see you next week. Thanks very much.